Look at the freak running the show. Look at the little crap head you got over there. The Starmer over there in the UK. How about throwing an FAU and a C in that UK? A little boy of nothing.
Hey guys, I'm still on location down south, and today I managed to get Gerald Celente again. So crazy stuff going on. The world's gone nuts, as you're all aware. So now we find out from Gerald what's coming also. Hey Gerald, great to see you again.
No, great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh no, always a pleasure. I really look forward to these ones for myself personally, as well as getting them out for everyone else. But you know what? I'm just going to let you riff mostly on the top items on your mind. Things are nuts, as I mentioned, in lots of ways. So maybe just pick your top items and where you see things going forward.
Well, there's no one item. It's a global freak show, and the freaks are running the show. I mean, look one jerk after another that's running a country. You know, they just had the chancellor now in Germany, Merz. Oh, little BlackRock guy. The guy from BlackRock is the chancellor. A little slime ball. Germany's what, 2 years in recession, the third largest economy in the world. And by the way, they were going down before the COVID war began. They were that far away from recession in 2019. And we're going to spend $1 trillion to build up our defense. We're going to do some infrastructure repair too. You're going $1 trillion in debt, $1 trillion when you're in a recession. We got to stop them Russians. A fat mouth. Weren't you the Germans in Operation Barbarossa that killed 25 million plus in World War II? And they're selling this bullshit that if we don't stop Russia going into Ukraine before you know it, they're going to attack all of Europe. The Nordic states, one country after another. And by the way, it's a country, to make it clear, after another, building up their defense as the economies are going down. What's going on now with India and Pakistan? When I say when all else fails, they take you to war. And that's what they're doing. That's our greatest concern. And of course, the Israeli genocide war, the slaughter. Oh, yesterday, only 85 Palestinians were killed. Not a mention, not a mention in the American media. And you got this madman, this genocidal, murderous freak, Netanyahu, bombs away over Syria, keep bombing Lebanon, ceasefire agreement, forget about it. We'll bomb and kill anybody we want. A great number of the population will leave to third countries. And the Operation Gideon Chariot, the conquest of the Gaza Strip, and the holding of the territories. You're stealing more land and shove this crap up your you know what that God told Abraham 3,500 years ago that this land belongs to the Jewish people. Hey, Gatson, what, God never talked to anybody since? Was God got lockjaw? I gotta believe your fairy tale? I gotta believe your rotten, stinking fairy tale? Shove it. And don't call me an anti-Semite. Some of my best friends are Jewish. They all hate what's going on. And 3 of my last 4 girlfriends were Jewish. So save your anti-Semite crap and shove it. I'm opposed to murderous wars. And I launched Occupy Peace movement over a decade ago and have major peace rallies. So I put my money and my heart where my mouth is. I hate these wars. So now going on, let's look what happened now. What Israel and Yemen are going at it. Israel's bombing the shit out of Yemen now, just destroyed a lot of their airport, over $500 million worth of damage. And Trump says, oh, we made a deal with the Houthis. We're not going to, the Houthis say they made no deal with America. So there's one lie after another. Hey, you vote for me. My name is Donald Trump. I'm going to end the Ukraine war in 24 hours, okay? A fat mouth. It's over 100 days later. You haven't ended the war. Hey, what's the matter with you? I said after I got elected, I'd end that war before I got into office. All right? Look at the freak running the show. Look at the little crap head you got over there. There's Starmer over there in the UK. How about throwing an FAU and a C in that UK? A little boy of nothing. A guy with a pecker, if he has one, that big Macron, a little garçon from France. One freak after another. And you do what I tell you to do. I'm your politician. You're just a piece of crap. Oh, and by the way, give me a couple of $100 million and I'll give you anything you want. Hey, you see how the Bitcoin's wrapping up, man? You see all those cryptocurrencies and the Trump family and the Trump team, just as we said it would when he did it. Look at his inauguration. A little freak show, a little Zuckerberg, a little peach eye. Oh, they were on their phones, a little Musk. Hey, you give me $1 million, you can come to my inauguration, all right? Hey, once upon a time, there was this an Italian guy that I don't like so much. His name was Mussolini. Corporatism, the merger of state and corporate powers. That's who's running the world. Hey, remember that thing off with their heads? Wonder why it happened. Can't figure it out.
And Mussolini as well, yeah, it was his definition of fascism, really, slash corporatism. It's the alliance of state and corporate power. And I keep reminding people, because I get called fascist, and ironically, I'm fighting against this madness. But you mentioned Netanyahu, and I must say, just from decades of managing people and interviewing people, I look at Netanyahu, and he really strikes me. The skin crawls when you watch him. He displays outwardly a malevolence that's, I find, extraordinary. And the anti-Semitic thing I mentioned about, I made the mistake of mentioning about Hayas and the other kind of Zionist-style NGOs driving the mass migration in the Darien Gap, because they interviewed Michael Yon, and I checked it out, and I thought, whoa, that's weird. And I got attacked for anti-Semitism in a few small newspapers. It was a pretty hard attack. But Netanyahu said decades ago, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, which is complete madness. I believe Trump in his first term began to put that into some kind of law. And I heard a week or so ago, Trump has said, I believe, or I heard, that anyone in the last 18 months who expressed anti-Israel sentiment, like online or anything, they can be disqualified from getting a green card in America. So this whole thing is like another layer of crazy above the usual.
Again, Zionism is a political movement. There's nothing to do with a religion. Look it up. A little clown boy made that up, that Herzl guy. It's a made up thing. Isaac, what I think his name was Herzl. I forgot his last name. Anyway, Theodore Herzl, I think that was it. In the 1890s. And again, Semites are from the Mesopotamia region. The people running Israel are all Eastern Europeans. What's Netanyahu's real name? Milikowski. They're not Semites. And again, this is you talk about Trump. He would have got $100 million from Sheldon Adelson. His wife gave him over a couple of $100 million more. Hey, we're moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Hey, Israel, you know that land you stole over there from the Syrians and the Golan Heights? It's yours. I just got $100 million. All right, I'm the president. He did that back in 2018. Then you look at what else Trump is doing. You got the whole Zionist regime in there. That little Huckleberry, the clown, the United States ambassador to to Israel is saying the stuff that, he pulls out the bullshit that God gave him the land crap, and this is Samaria and Judea. I don't want to hear your garbage. And again, this is, they're stealing land in violation of the Geneva Convention and UN Article 242. They're destroying the West Bank, killing people, bombing, destroying homes, stealing more land, and they call it settlements. It's in violation of the Geneva Convention and Article 242 of the United Nations. Now, going back to my concern is Israel ramping up a war with Iran and the United States supporting it. Iran has a very advanced military, technologically and scientifically. These are very advanced people. There are 91 million of them. 91 million versus, what, about 7 million Jewish people in Israel? You don't have to be good at math to figure this out. They'll wipe them out. And Israel has what they call the Samson option, SAMSON. Everybody could look it up. They say if they're losing, they're going nuclear. And they have between 200 to 400 nuclear warheads. Hey, we could have nuclear warheads, but Iran can't have any even nuclear power. How could people swallow this crap? And they swallow crap. Again, people don't know, as we say in the Bronx, people don't know dick about shit. They swallow the crap that the mainstream media pulls out and the politicians, and did Taylor Swift get laid last night? I mean, that's all they're concerned about.
Well, the media is bought and paid for now, and it became crystal clear during the cerveza sickness, or COVID, in 2020. And since then, it's just become comical. I look at it for amusement purposes only, is the way I might put it. It's just nuts. But you mentioned Bitcoin, and I get a lot of Bitcoiners get annoyed with me when I always promote physical gold. But I'm going to annoy them again, but I just don't see it. And another thing that worries me recently is, you mentioned it, Trump pushing the coins and all this pushing Bitcoin. The mainstream media are not talking about gold at $3,400. They're not talking about the BIS and gold going to tier one asset now. It's all over the world already, tier one. And now US and 1st of July, it's going to tier one. And there's this whole move towards gold becoming enormously important. Nothing in the media. But everyone in the media and everyone else is telling you to go and buy this Bitcoin thing. I mean, what do you think of all that?
Again, I say the same thing that you do. I show them the papers, and not a word about gold. Not a word about gold. But Bitcoin, we're bullish on it because it's a gambler's game, and you got a gambler crew going in. And then, by the way, there's going to become a point when everything becomes digital. And we're going to get away from this dirty cash. We're going to digital trash. And they want to know every penny you spent, where you spent it, and what you spent it on. There's no question. And you look at all the big companies that are putting billions into Bitcoin, investing in it. Look at the Trump team. Look at that guy Lutnick, his commerce secretary, his son now, and his Bitcoin thing, and Trump's son talking at the Bitcoin conference and coming out with their own coins. They're going to do everything they can to promote it. They're only interested in making money. And so we're bullish on it as a gambler's game. Gold is a different subject. Again, you saw the Trends Journal. 2024, our top trend was a golden year for gold. Gold, we could see gold going to $4,000 or $5,000 an ounce this year. And again, it hit 3,500, 3,000. What? Right? Yeah.
And I mean, there could be. I interviewed Simon Hunt a couple of weeks ago, and Matt Piepenberg of Von Grier's Gold in Switzerland. He's a great guy. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, you know, yeah.
Yeah, but the top guys are saying, there could be a correction, maybe to 2,700, maybe not. Could just keep going sideways and up. But even if it goes to 2,700, That's not the point of gold, because it's going way higher in the long term, and it's a long term guard your wealth asset and grow against the collapsing nonsense fiat currencies. So it doesn't matter if it corrects. But they all agreed, and I asked someone else I interviewed yesterday, James Patrick, who made Planet Lockdown movies. He's a good guy, super smart financially. And I asked him that question, where is the safe haven? Because I'm a simple person, but all I see is physical gold as a guarantee. What about anything else? And James kind of said, well, he's not really thinking of anything else because of the great taking and the fact that all your securities now can be hoovered up by JP Morgan when the derivatives market collapses. So gold seems to be, it's almost, I don't like to think of it too simplistically, but outside physical gold or physical silver, I'm not sure the other safe havens. What do you think?
Well, they're the number one and number two, gold and silver. Here's one of my books, 1989, Trend Tracking, far better than Megatrends Time magazine. I started buying gold, and we're writing this book back in 1978. I bought gold for like $163, $183 an ounce back then. The Iranian conflict was breaking out. They taught us to hate Iran without knowing. The average person had no idea the United States overthrew the democratically elected government of Mossadegh in 53, along with the MI6, the CIA. And because he said the oil belongs to the Iranian people, not Anglo-Iranian oil, better known today as BP, or Standard Oil, better known today as ExxonMobil. It belongs to the Iranian people. No, it doesn't. And they overthrew the government. So when the revolution happened, we knew it was real. The Savak, the secret police, when they brought the Shah in, they made the SS look good. The people that had it with that. So I started buying gold back then. I've been following gold since then. I've never seen, again, when we began the conversation, I was talking about the geopolitics of what's going on. And then now let's take a look at the economics. You mentioned the COVID war, the falseness of it. They artificially propped up the global economy by printing trillions of dollars of fake money backed by nothing and printed on nothing. Go home. You don't have to go to work. Here's some free money. Hey, here, for the big companies, here's billions of dollars for you. Tens of billions. They artificially propped up the economy. It was going down before that in 2019. One of our top trends for 2020, when we do them like in late December, early January, before the COVID war began, was New World Disorder. Tracking trends is the understanding of where we are, how we got here, and where we're going. So let's go back there for a minute. There were all around the world, there were protests going on. The Yellow Vests in France, Algeria, South Africa, India, Chile, all over the world, people were taking to the streets because of lack of basic living standards, government corruption, crime, and violence. Day after day after day. But COVID war happens, get back in your house, you can't go out.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying Gerald, as I always do. But in the whole interview, he actually didn't mention trendsjournal.com/subscribe. So they've been incredibly accurate over many, many years, decades actually. And there's a 10% reduction to subscribe if you use the code EMPEROR. And the link is shown on the screen and down below in the description box. But it's, I think, a couple of bucks a week, even without the discount. It's for nothing. It's around 5 times or 10 times less than many of the mainstream, lamestream junk newspapers. And it really keeps you and your family informed. So trendsjournal.com/subscribe and use the code EMPEROR for a further 10% discount off an already dirt cheap price. So anyway, let's get back to Gerald.
It ended. So I'm saying it was going down before this. Now let's look at the facts. Hey, how about those oil prices, huh? Oh, look where Brent crude is. What is that, $61 a barrel? How come? because the economies are going down, demand is going down. The damage done by the COVID war is incalculable. Life has been, I'm up here in Kingston, New York, in the Hudson Valley. 9 o'clock at night, it's dead. Dead. The restaurants up here used to stop serving at 10 o'clock. Now, 9 o'clock. I'm going to give you two trends that people need to watch for. One is going to be the dot. They overinvested in the companies in America. Trends are born, they grow, they mature, reach old age, and die. AI was only born in 2022. You don't invest all your money in the first companies that get into the first invention. China is going to out tech the world. Again, you put the trends together. Before they came into like Willie, Bill Clinton, 1992, before he brought China into the World Trade Organization, 10% of Chinese 18-year-olds went to college, 10%. Now nearly 70%. There's a country of 1.4 billion people. Young people are totally high-tech AI addicted. They got the brains and the power to advance in this. DeepSeek was the first story to tell how they're going to take over. There's going to be a dot-com bust. They overinvested in the IPOs and the existing AI companies and the IPO wannabes. Number two, going back to the COVID war, your office vacancy rate in the United States, meaning nobody in the office buildings, 20%. 20%. Now, what happened was, this happened 5 years ago, the COVID war. Now those leases are coming up and the people aren't renewing them. They had to pay they don't need all this space anymore. The work at home trend is a reality. Cities aren't what they used to be. They're dead at night. I'm a New York City guy. We used to go out at 1 o'clock in the morning when I was a young guy. Now the city, I ask all the cab drivers when I go to 12:30 at night, quieting down. It's a different world. There's going to be an office building bust that's going to bring down the banks. There's going to be defaults on loans. And again, I'm not making this up. Midtown Manhattan, 50th Street. A building where Sports Illustrated used to be, a whole number of them. It was over $300 million it sold for in 2006. It went up for auction last year. It sold for $8.5 million. The buildings built within the last 50 years are non-convertible to housing. So the crap that they're spewing out is baloney. They're non-convertible. Again, this building was in the middle of 50th Street, no windows behind it, no windows on the side of it, just windows in the front and big empty space. Ain't worth it. So I'm saying there's going to be two things to look for: an office building bust that's going to cause the banks to go bust, and the dot-com bust. And when I say banks go bust, let's go back to, what was it, 2023? 3 banks went bust, and it brought down the gold. It brought down the equity markets, and gold prices spiked. Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and First Republic. 3 not so big banks went down. Well, one of them was big. And it almost destroyed the equity markets. That was just 3. You're going to see maybe 33, 40, 50, 100. The banks are going to take a big hit when they're about $3 trillion worth of commercial real estate loans coming due this year and next year.
Yeah, there's problems on the horizon for sure, but also the economy now is clearly slowing. Unemployment's going to start rising. So there's a whole load of vectors coming together in the coming few months. And the best I can get from Hunt and Pietenberg and others is estimating by third or fourth quarter, we're going to see a pretty major drop in the market, maybe a burn up in the next month or two, irrational burn up, but then some kind of rollover and then big drops. Is that kind of what you're
Yes,
perceiving?
that when the dot-com bust happens, it's going to, and by the way, in the Trends Journal, we forecast in 1999 the dot-com bust.
Yeah.
It's right there for everybody to read. I'm telling you, if for the same exact reason, the internet revolution was just born in the 90s, and people overinvested in things that didn't make any sense. This thing's going to go down. And I'm telling you, it's a different story, but the same over investing in AI in the American companies when the trend began. And again, going back to where gold's going, Trump is going to do everything he can to lower interest rates. And anybody that doesn't think he has the power to do it, they don't know the facts. And I'm mentioning this because the lower interest rates go, the deeper the dollar falls. The deeper the dollar falls, the higher gold prices, the higher gold sales go up because it's cheaper for other countries to buy gold. Gold is dollar based. So you're going to, now let's go back to 2018 when Trump was president. The Dow had its worst December since the Great Depression, 1931. What did Trump do? He forced Jerome Powell to lower interest rates. Jerome Powell lowered interest rates in January 2019. Trump is going to do it again. Again, look what's going on in front of everybody's eyes. We're going to build another Trump Tower, or what, in Qatar? Or they're building Trump stuff all over the world. They're only interested in making money. It's right in front of everybody's eyes. By the way, I had lunch with Trump's brother, Robert, back in 2017 when Trump was president. He had a restaurant over here in Wasaic, which is across the river from us. The brother went on to tell me, I was with him for about 3 hours. He's a very nice guy. My aunt would have said, what kind of guy was he? She would have said he would have passed in a crowd. This guy was, Anyway, the brother went on to say that when the father died, I think it was 2002, when Trump's father died, he left them over $500 million worth of real estate. Trump is nothing more than a spoiled daddy's boy. You got it? Unlike you or me or people listening, we had to work for ourselves. Daddy didn't get us there. They gave us everything. I'm so blessed to have the parents I had. Oof, wouldn't want anybody else, but didn't leave us any money. You're on your own. Not Trump. I'm the same age as Trump. I grew up in the Bronx. They couldn't control me. I was born right after the war. In the Bronx, man, it's a whole different trip. From there, you don't know what it's like. The biggest threat they used to give me was, you little bastard, we had enough of your shit, you're going to military school. That was the big threat. I'm not going to go to military school. My mother, may she rest in peace, this great Italian woman, cook the food. I like chicks, sports, cars. I'm going to go to military school, get dressed up in an outfit, time to go to bed, time to get up and eat crap. I'm not going to do that. All right, I'll be good. I'll be good. Trump was so narcissistic, they sent him to military school. And the military school is about 30 minutes south of me over here in Cornwall, New York, in the middle of nowhere. Imagine being a teenager going to military school because you're so out of control. He's the same narcissistic guy then as he was now. Nothing's changed. It's only about him. They asked him, what do don't you have to obey the Constitution? He said, I'm not sure. I got to ask my lawyer. Hey, son, you took the oath of the Constitution. You obey the Constitution. You don't need a lawyer to, all right? The guy will do anything he wants. He lies again. I'm going to end the war in 24 hours. And again, the whole thing with the tariffs. Tariffs on, tariffs off. Tariffs, I got a tariff. You can't believe a word this guy's saying. And again, I want to make it clear, he's just a member of the Freaks Club.
Yeah. And again, a lot of people now in my network, they were terrified about Kamala, of course, getting in again. So that would just be a horror show beyond belief. But the problem with Trump is, it's not a savior. I mean, it's better than Kamala probably, because things would have just gone and collapsed into chaos even worse.
Yeah. No, I can't stand any of them. I'm a political atheist. I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate. I worked on major political campaigns in Westchester County, at the time the richest county in America. I had a picture of me when I picked up Ronald Reagan, was 30 years old, to put a brunch on for 16 of our board of directors. I went with presidents, prime ministers, and princes. I know what this thing looks like. And that's why I know what I know. I used to be on the other side. And then I saw what a corrupt syndicate it was, and I quit. And again, these are little ballless guys. Till you call these guys out man to man, they don't know whether to piss or shit. I'm telling you. They are little gutless clowns that really act tough. And look at the shit. They go, a little Marco Rubio, a little boy of nothing, goes to another country. They roll out a red carpet, and all these little boys get dressed up in their costumes and salute. What kind of crap is this? What kind of crap is this red carpet shit? All right, that's the arrogance of these ballless little boys. Again, I've been there. I was there. When I quit, none of my friends could believe it. I said, I'm not going to take this shit. I'm not going to bow down and suck up to these clowns to move my way up. They're all ballless, and the bureaucrats are the worst. These are scum that can't get a job in the real world that becomes the most arrogant and tell you what to do in every damn country. As an Italian, I can't stand Italy anymore. It's one of the most bureaucratic joints around.
Yeah, well, we're screwed in Europe because whatever about America and the craziness, I mean, Europe is a bit depressing. So the mass migration being led from the top, from the UN and the EU Commission, the bureaucracy, the downright evil of what you said about going to war with Russia and pissing another hundreds of billions of our money against the wall and to their buddies. It's an absolute mess. But you know what, Gerald, I'm conscious of we have to close in the hour, so I'm wondering, you know, what are your other key things that you'd highlight to people in the coming 12 or 18 months? And maybe some advice about how the average person who's looking at this with bewilderment, you know, how they might behave or look after themselves in this crazy situation.
Here's the story. Yeah, one of the first books I worked on, Natural Healing, back in the 1980s when nobody heard about this stuff. You got to get in the best. Again, I'm the same age as Trump. If I look like him, I blow my brains out. You got to get in the best shape you can, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You're in a fight for your life. And to rise to the highest level you can. Again, I pull a lot of shit in my life. I want to make that really clear. But I don't want to, you know, there's stuff where a woman says, oh, you know, 30 years he abused me, you know. I've never raised my hand to a woman unless she wanted to be spanked. That's it. Take it easy. It's a joke. It's a joke. By the way, my sister, may she rest in peace, opened up the second topless go-go lounge in New York City. You can look it up, Lucky Lounge, and then became the oldest go-go club in New York City. So anyway, I'm just joking about, again, like I said, I did a lot of stuff on my life. Get in the bed, you got to keep growing and learning. We all pull shit. You know, you do it, you move on. Try to do something. Again, I launched Occupy Peace. I want peace on earth. And because if the United States and Israel go to war against Iran, it's going to be the beginning of the end of life on earth. And they're going to escalate the Ukraine war. That's the other thing. And now we have the India-Pakistan war heating up. We need peace on earth. So everybody do something positive any way you can. If a billionaire gave us $1 billion for Occupy Peace, we'd have peace tomorrow. You can't do it without any money. And to me, what will change life is a renaissance. After the Black Plague, they had the Renaissance. What? Some 60% of Europe was wiped out because of the filthy sanitation, people killing themselves, just like they're killing themselves now. Alla Romana et all'antica, in the manner of the Romans and the ancients, they said, to describe the quality of their work. We have to bring back a higher quality of life. That, to me, is the only way I see it happening. But again, you can't do it without the money. Money talks, bullshit walks. And the Medicis made it happen with the Renaissance and these. Yeah, I have 3 pre-Revolutionary War stone buildings on the most historic corner in America up here in Kingston. One of my tenants was Warren Buffett's son, Peter. His foundation, 1763, Dr. Jensen House. They rented. Never gave me a penny for my peace rallies that I have every year. I'm just a little guinea from the Bronx, a little wop, you know, hey. You're nobody. You know, my father is. You know what my father is. Again, that's the news, by the way. Warren Buffett may retire. What the fuck do I care if he retires? Oh, his celebrity died. What the hell do a celebrity? That's the kind of language that they use so that people think less of themselves. What celebrity? Some shithead that knows to play another person that he's not or she's not? I got to hear a celebrity?
Yeah.
That's the
No,
kind of crap that they push on people.
I think, Gerald, that at the end of the day, and it's probably like this fourth turning thing, over a couple of generations, the dregs rise to the top and then they demand to be respected in the way you described. But they're the dregs. So here we are with the dregs up top, and I agree totally. I mean, I do an online workshop now in mental strength and cognitive psychotherapy to get people strong. But like you're saying, and physical health as well. Get physically strong, get mentally strong, get stoical, understand how your mind works, and don't focus overly outside your circle of control. That's a big thing for me, and I'm sure for you too. Focus on where you can make a difference, however small, right? And all these dickheads, the scum of the earth that ended up top, if the people steadily increase awareness, work together more, communicate, they'll topple like they always did in the past at some point.
Yep, it's up to the people. It's up
Yeah.
to the people.
That's it. So you hear that, everyone? It's up to you. Whatever small way you can, spread awareness of how the world works. Gerald, really appreciate you coming on and reminding us some of that about how the world works. We got to keep at the front of our mind and physically and mentally strong. Here's to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gerald. Gerald, fantastic as ever. So again, just mention in closing that trendsjournal.com/subscribe. Use the code EMPEROR. And for less than a couple of bucks a week with the 10% discount you'll get the best information on what's happening in the world, the trends, and where we're likely going for you and your family. So highly recommended. I'm subscribed myself for a long time, and it's great stuff. So till next time.